Hello, survivors. Welcome to the State of Decay 2 stream. I'm your host, Geoffrey Card, and we've got a very exciting episode for you today because we're actually going to be going through all of the weapons and all of the weapon upgrades in the upcoming Update 19. Update 19 is not ready for you yet, but we're here to talk about what it's going to contain. And we've got some guests. Looks like the first person we've got on screen here is actually Zoe McClatchey. So, Zoe, do you want to introduce your friends there?
Hi, I'm one of the newer programmers at Undead Labs, and I have a couple guests, and they help me code, and they decrease my coding speed by about 50%, so that's good.
Well, so considering everything that you've accomplished for this update, I can't imagine what you'd be like without the handicap. But alongside Zoe, we've also got Brian. Brian, do you want to come introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name's Brian Giaime. I stare at spreadsheets and have opinions and change numbers and then change them back and then change them one more time and say they're good and then defend them on Reddit.
That's a really good description of your job, especially considering some of the stuff we're going to get into today. And then, of course, we have Brant Fitzgerald. Brant?
Hello.
There's Brant Fitzgerald. But you all know Brant. He's been, he and I have been the host of this for a long time. And I love, by the way, that the birds keep making noises and switching the screen back to Zoe. But I'll just take the name tag off. The name tag is just a lie all the time. But Brant's gonna be watching the chat. Oh, yep.
Part of that's fan. I will turn it off. It's a little bit warm right here right now.
Oh, your fan. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so anyway, while Zoe is turning off her fan, let's do a quick little aside about the Red Cross. If you've been watching our stream regularly, you know that we talk about this every single week, but we have partnered with the Red Cross to basically promote the idea that during this summer, which is always usually a dry month for blood donations, and especially during this pandemic, the need to donate blood is stronger than it's ever been, and so we've been really pushing alongside them the idea that they're actually putting a lot of work into making it safe and friendly, a safe and friendly process to go out there and donate blood. And a lot of people have been watching these streams, watching our social media posts about it, and they've been giving blood. So, for instance, we've got let's see, that's me. I need to make this go away. Here's Cam. Cam from Twitter sent us a shot of him giving blood, which is really cool, and he's not the only one. We've also got Matthew here. Matthew DeBartolo? Possibly DeBartolo. I'm really not sure how to pronounce your last name, Matthew, but thank you for giving blood. It's really cool that you're not only giving blood, but sharing about it and setting an example for other folks. We've also got a good friend of mine, Daniel K9er. You see him there giving blood and wearing his mask like a responsible citizen. We really appreciate that. And of course, we've got Alt Yak Asalem, who I'm probably pronouncing your name wrong. Maybe it's Asylum. I'm probably pronouncing your name wrong, but we really appreciate you, giving blood and sharing that fact with everybody else. So. Basically, we just really want people to understand how important it is these days to be giving blood. Hospitals are, facing a lot more challenges than they normally do in a normal year, and any bit of help you can offer will be appreciated. Which is one reason why, and we showed this last week, but we want to make sure that you guys know. The Wizard van is being replaced in Update 19 with this Give Blood ambulance with the Bloodmobile. And so, if we've got any traveling to do today, we're going to be traveling in the Bloodmobile. But, you've seen that before. And we're here on this stream right now to show you some new stuff. So, I'm going to get this ambulance all queued up. But then, let's start talking about the World War II pack. So, we've got Brian and Brant here. They're both involved in setting up these weapons. So, let's have a look at this character. So, anybody want to name the weapon that is dangling from this backpack right now? Speaking specifically of this submachine gun.
I mean, do you want us to answer that, or are we waiting for the chat?
You go ahead. I think the chat's going to catch on. But it looks like RDR6 got it.
Yep.
It is an MP40. This is the first time we've had an MP40 in the game.
Yep.
And so you'll realize, so in the original World War II pack that we did had a bunch of Allied weapons, and it was very focused on American weapons and I think some British weapons, and there were a lot of requests to get weapons from other theaters, from other parts of the war. And so what we're doing this time around is basically all of those weapons from the original World War II pack, which didn't have bounties associated with them, all of those are going into loot. So anybody can find them. You don't have to complete bounties for them, and they're just in the game long term. Even when the World War II pack cycles out of the bounty broker and new things show up, those weapons will still be available to you in loot. And then what's going into the bounty broker now is a bunch of new weapons you've never played with before, including this MP40. I should go find myself some zombies to kill, though.
Yeah,
Good idea.
I mean, it's a very iconic silhouette from World War II, so we decided to include that.
Yeah, so let me, actually, I just realized, okay, I'm looking at the wrong screen. I've got a slight delay on my OBS screen. Whenever I look at that, I can't drive for crap. So I just completed a siege, and so I think that there's not a lot of zombies near my base right now. I might have to actually cheat to make some zombies show up. So let me quickly just make my screen go, hello, Zoe! Ah, hello, birds. Let me just quickly make some zombies appear. I don't usually like to show the cheat menu, but I'm just going to make a zillion zombies. Make the cheat menu go away, and oh no! Ah! So many zombies!
That is a lot of zombies. Luckily, you have a fully automatic, easily controlled assault weapon with you.
Yes! Ah, well, I'm not doing a good job at aiming at them.
Yeah, the mag size isn't, best in breed, but it is extremely easy to keep on target compared to its competition.
Yeah, of course, obviously, depending on your own ability to aim and fire, which is a problem that we're seeing me have right now.
If Geoffrey could aim, then we'd actually see the
This
strength.
has to be really good.
Yep.
You know what? I didn't bring enough ammo for this gun, so let me quickly get up here. Oh, no, let me get up here. I'm going to switch to a different gun that I've got ready. This one has more ammo in it.
For now.
Yes, exactly. So, you want to tell us a little bit about this gun here, Brant? This is one we already had a version of before, right?
This is the Thompson, but this one is it was commemorative. It was given to a general upon their retirement. So you'll
it's
see
really high quality materials and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's nice engravings and inlays and things like that on it. You'll see it's very shiny. We often make our weapons dirty. This one's very shiny.
Oh, she's out of ammo. So, gotta get it. I've got nothing left except, this giant hammer. I don't think we've seen this hammer before, have we?
We have not.
Oh, ow, get off me, you stupid zombie.
We had a lot of fun researching this hammer. Because I believe Brant would probably know the model, but this is a hammer you would find on the side of certain tanks. We'd seen this before.
Yeah, it's for working on treads and resetting treads in the field and things like that, because they're all very heavy and tight tolerances, and so you just got to bang on them a lot.
I just had this mental image of like, what is there a hammer on the tank for? And obviously the answer is, well, you hit the tank with the hammer until the tank does the thing it's supposed to do.
Right.
It's a tank problem solver.
It's for punishing unruly tanks is kind of what it's about.
Right.
I almost wanted to call it the tank adjuster, but tank hammer just sounded great. Sorry, go ahead, Zoe.
It was coming up with melee weapons, useful melee weapons in our game from the World War II era was a little difficult because that was an era of warfare where you just weren't closing with the enemy to hand-to-hand range as much. So you saw a lot more submachine guns for that kind of work, but fewer and fewer swords and clubs and things like that they even had in World War I.
So another thing worth pointing out is the fact that this helmet that my character's wearing is also brand new. We do have a combat helmet in the game. It's kind of a modern combat helmet. It's got goggles on it and stuff like that. This is a much more like authentic World War II green army combat helmet. Am I describing that right, Brant?
The other one we have is actually a World War II helmet as well.
Oh, that's right. It's just been modified. That's right.
Yeah, it just has the goggles and things on it. This one is very much general issue.
So, let's switch away from this character and go to this very special ops looking guy over here. So he's got a different helmet on. This is also a new hat. Let me get into the light where you can see him a little bit better. So people noticed during the pre-stream that, we've got an aviator cap that you can put on your characters in the game. So you can look like a classic video game character by having goggles attached to your head, which is just that is the classic video game character look.
And no, this does not mean that we're adding aircraft to State of Decay 2.
That is true. But check out this gun at his hip. It's a little bit hard to get an angle on it, but that looks like a revolver with a suppressor on it.
That's right.
We don't have a lot of those in the game. Maybe there's just one other, isn't there?
Yeah, there's the Echo weapon that has that. This one is a little bit of a fictional stretch for us, but it's an M1917 where our story is that the OSS, the precursor to the CIA, was looking into suppressed revolvers. We did have them in Vietnam, actually. They showed up, but on a different caliber of gun.
So let me... so we got a collection of zombies here, and I'm just going to quickly pop each of them in turn. Quit moving your head around, you jerk. There you go.
Compared to a lot of our sort of suppressed versions of stuff, this one actually keeps most of the power in the shot. So if you don't manage the headshot, you've still got a decent chance of doing a knockdown with this compared to other integrally suppressed firearm versions.
And it looks like it fires 45 cal. So yeah, it's a lot of our kind of unusual silenced weapons fire lower calibers than that. But that's a pretty powerful shot. So that's all he's got to share. But we should look over here at Mary. Mary's got a couple of things to show off. She's got the combat helmet on too, of course, and she's also wearing a pirate outfit because those two go together real well. But first, let's talk about this submachine gun that she's carrying. Wait, what direction is the way out? It's over here. So,
all right, this is another iconic silhouette from World War II. It was Soviet PPS H-41, a very high rate of fire. They made like 6 million of these things near the end of the war. It was the Soviet answer to lots of close engagements that they were finding in places like Stalingrad. And so it's a high rate of fire. It holds, they put a unique kind of muzzle brake on it on the sort of standard version that kept the muzzle down. It was, and it's something that people will recognize. So we had to put that in.
Okay, so you can fire a single shot, or you can just open up like it's a weed whacker.
Yeah, you can almost think of this one like the G18 Auto Custom, but what if you could control it at all? Because it's still high rate of fire, large magazine, 9mm, so a lot of the same characteristics, except unlike the machine pistol, this thing is designed to be fired this way. And so it's really good for getting a lot of concentrated fire, really good against juggernauts compared to other stuff in 9mm, and if you can get a horde all sort of tangled up together, this will allow you to shred through them.
Well,
yeah, and
oh yeah, go ahead.
The purists on the gun forums are gonna get at me a little bit, both for the caliber and for the drum magazine size. I capped it at 51, whereas the Soviet drum magazine is technically 71, but that would make this gun a little bit OP.
Yep.
Okay, so since
it's important that the one that Geoffrey's using is one that you're going to find in loot. This will show up very rarely in somebody's house, like they were a collector, or in the Explorer reward containers, the ones that be sort of orange band containers that are swirled around the map. There's actually another version of this one that I think we're going to get to in a bit.
Yeah, so I just wanted to point out that since the zombies got really close to me, I've been using this melee weapon here. Brant, do you want to tell us a little bit about what this sucker is?
Yes, Mark made this. It's it's a trench tool. I believe it's a Wehrmacht trench tool. Again, we were sort of down to the bottom of the barrel for finding useful melee weapons from World War II.
This is a pretty cool one. I mean, it's basically like a giant hatchet when you're using it against the zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we already had a folding spade trench tool in the game, and so we sort of had an idea for how we would bring that to life in our world, and so we sort of took that pattern and then just made it more exaggerated because this is a bigger, heavier version of the modern one. So it hits a little bit harder, but it's a little bit harder to swing.
And then I've also got on this character a different PPSH, the Danger Dog. What's special about this guy?
Okay. as we have a tradition of doing garage versions of some of our favorite firearms, and this is definitely the a modern gunsmith grabbed a working version of the PPSH and updated it to their specifications. And we call it Danger Dog because on the front of the magazine, you'll see a little spray painted picture of one of our office dogs. His name's Danger Dog, and
can't really see it in this lighting, unfortunately.
No, it's tough to see. You'd have to do it with a friend to look at it a little bit better. But yeah, it's got an integral suppressor on it. It's got an optic, and it's got a front post for more control and things like that.
Yeah, so even when you're it's also got burst fire, not just semi and full auto.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hope with this one is that it'll actually be something that people who are used to only really playing on Nightmare will see it and go, oh, I can really use that. It's going to do stuff that I can't currently do with any of the stuff available to me.
All right, well, that's the PPSHs. So I think we've got a little bit more to share from the World War II pack. So let me pop over to Marcy. Marcy's hiding inside of a dark room. We'll get her out of here real quick. All right, so Marcy has got some enormous weapon on her back. What is going on with her?
So we do love the BAR, the Browning automatic rifle. It's one of those. It's a squad automatic weapon, squad support that was very portable, popular with the Marines in the Pacific Theater, and Dan Mode absolutely loves that weapon as well. And so we decided to do sort of a Marine Raiders quote unquote spec ops version of the BAR, and also it includes a new removable muzzle brake. Brian, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So we were doing a little bit of homework on this one. I think we discovered that like the FBI ordered like 100 of these once as like a quote unquote fighting rifle, like it was going to be a new sort of configuration for them. And now those fighting rifles always had, I think the design is still in use in modern versions. It's called a cuts compensator. So it's a very, very old compensator design, a bunch of sort of vertical cuts on the front. So this is going to behave in our game a lot like a muzzle brake. It's a little bit heavier than those, and so it'll give you a little bit more sway on the weapon, but it'll have a lot of the same benefits as a muzzle brake. So it's comparable to a pro brake, although with the tuning on the way it sort of balances out horizontal recoil is a little more significant, so it'll make your weapon way more consistent. And the idea is that it's a historical design, and so if you have a bunch of historical stuff and the idea appeals to you, you can pull it off of that and then put it on any other weapons. And so if you want to have something that's got something that's from the same time period, now you can customize it and still keep it looking like it's from that time period while still getting the benefits of a weapon attachment.
Or you can just slap it on a Scar H like I did.
You can.
So Wildman on Twitch has a great idea that I wish we could do. He wants to, now that we've done a lot of World War II weapons, we should start adding tanks.
That sounds amazing. So that, I believe that is all of our World War II stuff. So basically what you can expect is all of the original weapons from the first World War II pack, which came without bounties. Those weapons are all going into loot. Then we're bringing in a whole new set of weapons. All the weapons that you saw here, those are going to have bounties, except for the PPSH, the Soviet PPSH. That one is also going into loot. On top of that, you've got the two melee weapons, the tank hammer and that trench tool. And you've got a couple of hats. You got this aviator hat, and you've got a combat helmet. So there's your list. There's your World War II pack. But that is far from everything we want to talk about today.
That's right.
So we've got Ezzy here, who's here to talk about what Brian and Zoe have been working on for the past little while. So Zoe or Brian, you guys want to sort of give us a... Actually, yeah, Zoe, do you want to explain to us a little bit like what the way shotguns used to work? And how we've approached trying to change them. Oh wait, this is the wrong guy. I don't even have a shotgun. That guy's for a later conversation we're going to have about the Pyro launcher. Let's grab this guy. This is Nate. He's got shotguns. Anyway, Zoe, take it away.
I will do my best to explain. So, shotguns prior to this upcoming patch used to work by basically firing a bunch of pellets out whenever they were fired. And if those pellets hit a zombie, they would score a hit. If they hit the zombie in the head, they would kill the zombie. Things like that, which was not very consistent. There was a chance, even at close range, that if you fired at a zombie, it might not even hit them. The pellets might just go wide. They might hit the legs instead of the head.
I think everybody who's played a lot of State of Decay here in our chat has probably had that experience where they aim a shotgun at a zombie. They're like they feel like they've just got it dead center, and every single pellet just misses, and there's nothing they can do about it. Yeah. So. Sorry, what were you saying, Zoe?
Do you want me to discuss how we fix it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that was causing some problems for us. So what did you guys decide to sort of address it, to fix it? How does it work differently now?
All right. So the way we've addressed this, me and Brian in concert building and designing this thing, is to essentially trace backwards from any zombies that you happen to be aiming at, and then fire the bullets at those zombies. So basically, if you aim at something within a certain range, you are guaranteed to hit it. And within a closer range, you are guaranteed to kill it. So it adds a lot of consistency to the shotgun and makes it behave more like firing a whole heck of a lot of grape shot, as opposed to like a handful of bullets at random.
Okay, so what I've been running around trying to do is trying to get both of my... one challenge that we have, something that we've actually got ideas for how to address it, is it's hard to target a specific character to bring with you as a follower. And so I was trying to bring both of my shotgun characters out here to go and test out these shotguns, but I'm going to fail at that. But yeah, so it's basically like when you aim a shotgun, and why don't I I'm going to generate some zombies here while we chat. So basically, when you aim a shotgun now, it actually, there's like a magical cone coming out of the front of the shotgun that's finding all of the zombies and basically deciding that if you fire the shotgun, you are going to hit those zombies. So for instance, if I'm shooting like this, I can actually hit a crowd of zombies instead of most of those like maybe one or two zombies out of ammo, one or two zombies getting pellets in them, and the rest of them just acting like nothing happened. Every zombie in that cone, within reason, is actually going to get hit somehow or another by this shot, out to a certain range.
Yeah, at some point you're more brushing them with a light coating of lead as opposed to actually killing them.
Yeah, like that guy right there, he just fell down. He didn't lose any limbs, nothing got took off him, but he didn't look like I missed him, which was a really frustrating thing with the old model for shotguns.
To add a little context here, Geoffrey is currently using one of the few hunting shotguns we have. So this one's actually on the slightly higher end of range.
Yeah,
which
so
means it's going to have a slightly further kill distance and a slightly further crowd control distance. But every shotgun will now have sort of two discrete behaviors where out to a certain range you're guaranteed to get headshots, and then from that range out to sort of the edge of that shotgun, you're guaranteed to get crowd control effects like either a knockdown or a dismemberment.
Yeah, so I'm going to switch over to the Kodiak, and I'm going to spawn some additional zombies out here to fire at. So, yeah, what I want to do is sort of show you guys like a range of different shotguns and sort of what their effects are like now compared to your memory of how they've worked in the past. So now I've got a Kodiak, which is, you can tell from the crosshair, this is a very sort of wide shotgun. So you expect that from really far away, the Kodiak isn't going to be nearly as effective as the as that 870 was. But it's still doing something, which is, at this range, it used to be that a Kodiak would do literally nothing at all. And look at that. You can actually get a pretty decent shot at some zombies, even from far away with the Kodiak. And you see that last shot that I took? The guy didn't take damage, but he did wince. And so I was able to sort of like keep him from getting any closer for a second, even though I didn't hit him with enough pellets to take him out. I didn't hit his head with any pellets. He still reacted to the shotgun, which makes a big difference.
Maxie had mentioned something about using bullet piercing. The effect you're seeing actually doesn't rely on the penetration stat or behavior at all. That's one of the things we tried to use to make shotguns feel different than like a full auto rifle, which might be another way you want to approach dealing with a horde of zombies. The shotgun will only hit the stuff that's right in front of it. If you want to use a lot of like bullet penetration and go for like the lined up headshots, for example, that's still going to be something where we're going to reward you for having a lot of skill in using a rifle or a high caliber pistol. Shotguns are really about being able to reduce threat at medium range and about knocking stuff out at short range. They're not there to be the sort of like precise hunting weapon or precise sniper weapon.
Yeah, they're more of a blend instrument that takes care of a crowd.
So, who wants to see me fire a dev gru at these guys?
Please do it.
I don't think anybody would want that, Geoffrey.
Maybe a little closer.
Oh, I can't keep my recoil under control. Oh my gosh.
That's the joke.
All right, so the fact that I fired over their heads mostly was my problem. Let's try this again. So you see, like, again, not every shot is going to kill a zombie because, taking out the head is so critical to killing a zombie. So a lot of these shots are taking out arms, taking out legs, and knocking zombies over. But either way, if you've got a crowd of zombies coming at you, you can repel them pretty well with one of these shotguns. I should
hoping to make up for them still being a reasonably loud weapon.
Yeah, so actually, Brian, do you want to talk a little bit about sort of like how they compare quietness-wise to other guns?
Sure. So they used to be, like, I think only 50 cal was louder than a shotgun for a while. And ultimately, because you can't suppress them, like we don't have a shotgun suppressor that's an attachment, that meant that it's really easy just to choose not to use shotguns on Dread or Nightmare. And that seems sort of counter to the goal of, providing a zombie survival fantasy experience. And so we brought the volume of a shotgun round down to about 5.56. You still can't suppress them, although there is the Echo I forget the number, the Echo shotgun that is integrally suppressed. But they should now be quiet enough and powerful enough that even if you're playing on Dread, it's tempting to go out with one of these, especially if you're, well off in the game, your character's leveled up, you got a bunch of consumables. It should be really tempting to try and head out there with a shotgun as your sort of daily driver and then feel so safe, not safe, but you can trust it to create safety for you because it will absolutely hit everything you're aiming at, right? The higher level goal here is that because it is predictable and because it is effective at large groups, you can rely on this thing to get you home in one piece, even if it's not going to do so quietly.
So here I'm trying to. Oh, which gun was this? This is the KSG. Yeah. So nice large magazine, pump action shotgun, and I don't. He doesn't. Oh, that is the grossest zombie I've ever been chased by. Holy crap!
Yeah, you dismembered its torso and its arms, so it's just.
Oh, it's just.
That's what it has
worst. Now. So that is definitely the kind of thing you're going to be seeing if you're using shotguns. So yeah, what else do we have in this person's pocket? Oh, let's axe this guy in the face real quick. What else do we have here? We've got the Echo, right? So this is our only suppressed shotgun. So it's good for taking folks out. Yeah.
We did increase the magazine size on this one a little bit.
Oh, yeah, that's worth.
I think it was 4 before, and I think it's 6 or maybe 6+1 now.
I think it's 6+1 now. Yeah. So yeah, we got some comments about that when we were first started talking about shotguns. We actually heard some comments from our community about the Echo shotgun having such a small magazine. So yeah, so we have increased it.
Yeah, so this should be very useful on Nightmare now if it wasn't already.
Boom, take that. So yeah, so that is how shotguns work now. So we're really hoping that that a lot of players are going to feel like that shotguns are a much more reasonable value proposition now than they were before. They're still not. It's not like we didn't want to tune them to become the dominant weapon, the only weapon you ever need. So we didn't make them too overpowered, but we've gone through and we want it to be so basically if you've got a shotgun in your supply locker, we don't want you to look at it and just go, well, obviously I'm not bringing that with me. It's loud and it never kills any zombies. We want it to be like, oh yeah, that thing is going to explode a lot of faces, and it's gonna be able to keep a crowd of zombies off my back. And so it's worth considering, even if it's not the quietest thing in the world.
Hey, Andy Pims, this is a game. Don't worry about trying to make shotguns perfectly real in the real world, buddy.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, these are still video game shotguns. We're kind of not ashamed of the fact that we've tuned them to be fun to play with, not necessarily to be 100% accurate to real life.
But at this point, they should feel like a video game shotgun is supposed to feel like, and be a lot more fun to use.
Yeah, the biggest advantage for me, like, for me as somebody who, you guys have watched me shoot, I'm not the best shot in this game. The thing I like about a shotgun is that, even if I can't really get, if I'm too panicked, if I'm running away and I can't get that crosshair onto the head, I can still just fire wildly at the zombies and something will happen. Sometimes something pretty dramatic. So earlier on, I grabbed the wrong character by accident, and it was a character who was carrying a pyro launcher. So you guys might remember that last week, I sort of floated a little bit of a trial balloon during the stream, and I said that we have been talking about potentially making some changes to the way the pyro launcher works. That basically we've realized that the pyro launcher is actually like the second most equipped and third or fourth most fired weapon in the game, and the main reason people use it is because. Is it just a single burst from it, Brian, that is able to take that in the game The Wild right now is able to take out an entire plague heart?
For sure, if you're playing on green zone, I don't know at what difficulty that stops being true.
Yeah, but it's an extremely effective weapon, actually, to the point where there's a lot of weapons in this game that are really effective at taking out plague hearts, and this one outstrips all of them by a country mile. And that kind of became a concern, for a few reasons. And so we want to kind of spend some time talking about that, because after we floated that trial balloon, of course, some people, reacted to it. Specifically, one of my favorite YouTubers out there for State of Decay, Jersey-O, pointed me at a Reddit thread where somebody was like. This person named Angry Customer Service, which already makes them intimidating to me. They said, there's discussion about nerfing the pyro launcher because it's game-breaking, and the second most popular weapon in the game. I understand the dev perspective. Plague hearts are meant to be big hurdles, and the pyro launcher one-shot kills them. I get it, but not all of us are playing the game to fight bigger and badder nasties. And this poster goes on to sort of explain that they've been using the pyro launcher specifically to eliminate plague hearts from the game, to sort of just to make them not something that they have to worry about, and so that they can sort of have a little bit more of a chill experience, but not the kind of chill experience we offer with the green zone, a different kind of chill experience where it's maybe the combat is just as hard as it was before, but some of the challenges we place in the way are not something that they have to deal with day to day. One thing I really appreciate about the post, by the way, is how constructive and respectful they were. They didn't just sort of like throw a bunch of hate in our direction. They actually said, hey, we understand your perspective. We know what you're trying to do. But here's my perspective, and here's the experience that I'm having. And so we really have sort of approached this question in a pretty sort of like even-handed way, trying to sort of bear in mind all of the perspectives that kind of go into this. Because we really want players to know that we're paying attention and that we're trying to think through this whole thing. So we don't want to just make it one item on a patch note and just nerf it and just throw it out there. We want to talk to you folks about it. So, Brian, I'm gonna take the current the newer updated version of the pyro launcher and fire it at this plague heart, and we can and I guess what we're gonna see is. That the plague heart normally might be almost dead by now, but because we have sort of specifically reduced its effects on plague hearts, the plague heart has not died. In fact, I actually have to reload the pyro launcher before I can take this thing completely out. Which means I spend some time here potentially exposed to the zombies. Zombies that are coming, the zombie ads that are coming in are a danger to me. But luckily, since this is still really effective against them, as long as I can get them in the line of fire too, I'm still pretty safe. And there we go. So it actually takes 2 magazines from the pyro launcher now to take out an early plague heart on the standard zone. So, Brian, do you want to talk a little bit about sort of what it is you think of when you're looking at a weapon like this that originally was so ridiculously overpowered and was sort of wiping out plague hearts without a lot of effort? Like how does that, with you sort of thinking about the entire system and how it holds together, how do you look at a weapon like that?
Sure. So I can give you guys sort of the the theory behind all of this is the same thinking that goes into most of our weapon balance choices. Like, the game is at its best when the decision of what to bring with you is interesting, right? When the decision of how to specialize a character is interesting. The game works really well when you get excited about finding something really, really rare and powerful, right? If you go out and find a secret weapon container or you finish a mission and you get a reward and that's supposed to be a really powerful weapon, that feels really good. And those moments are all undermined when the game has stuff that's easy for you to get that's really, really powerful, right? If the Pyro launcher is something that you have in your inventory and you know you could just go and grab that and then knock out a plague heart without having to really engage in the game systems or sort of show off and use the cool stuff that you found or the characters you've leveled up, it sort of just waters down that sense of satisfaction from being able to beat it. It waters down the joy of finding new stuff. It undermines a lot of the progression. So like anytime we have something in the game that's too powerful, this is sort of the way we have to think about it.
But the thing about that was special about the Pyro launcher wasn't just that it was powerful. It was the fact that it was singular. It was the fact that it was the only thing at its tier, and that's the thing that sort of made it kind of a challenging thing. But actually, its tier, the fact that it was alone, sort of at the peak, it actually wasn't that far above another tier of weapons that are also really, really effective at taking out plague hearts. They're just one step down. I've actually brought a couple of those weapons with me as well, like the Eternal Guard's Infinite Rage, for instance.
Yeah, so like we have a pretty... I mean, at this point, we've been adding stuff to the game for a while, right? We have over 200 weapons, and there's probably a good dozen of them that are all highly effective against plague hearts, especially if you specialize or bring the right stuff with you. And one of the biggest reasons to tamp down on the Pyro launcher is to make it so that you have a little bit more of a reason to find those things. That should make it feel better to get those things, make you have more motivation to use those things. Like, that's still, like, it's a little ridiculous.
That was kind of ridiculous, right? I mean, how quickly that plague heart, compared to the Pyro launcher, how quickly that plague heart went down is just kind of impossible.
Is there a break on that?
I think I've just got whatever it comes with out of the box. So yeah, there's a professional break on it.
Okay,
but
so yeah,
it's the one that it comes with.
So like, keep in mind, like, what you just saw there is the way that's been for a very long time. And to be frank, I have thoughts about that too. But at least in the short term, you know, we got a lot of feedback about this, and so we wanted to be thoughtful about this. And so we wanted to change it, and the current thinking is just to bring the Pyro launcher down to where the next tier of stuff feels like where you want to go, where it's worth it to sort of pursue, acquire, trade for, or even use if you already have this next list of weapons. So like the G18 Auto Custom, the Eternal Guard's Infinite Rage.
That's the next one I was going to use. Yeah. The Dev Grew is really good at this
stuff. You can get right up in front of it.
Yeah, and so you know, the thing that I would want to, you know, basically say to folks that were worried about you know, losing the ability to take down plague hearts quickly and effectively if we brought that down with the Pyro launcher. What we're actually trying to do, we're not trying to just destroy that Pyro launcher experience, because there are several other weapons in the game that offer a Pyro launcher-like experience when it comes to just being able to point at a plague heart, just open up on it, and very, very quickly, you know, take it down to its halfway point, and then, this is actually a vanilla character. He doesn't have any reload improvements, so there we go. And take on the player. There are still lots of weapons in our game that offer that sort of just instant kill button on a plague heart. The thing that we've done with the Pyro launcher is basically kind of given it a more specialized role, where it's slower at taking down the plague heart than the Eternal Guards, than the Dev Grew, than the custom G18, but it's got it's got a different sort of texture to the advantage, where it takes longer to take down the plague heart, but you can also be hitting other zombies with fire at the same time that you're hitting that plague heart, and you know, and so it helps you keep the ads off your back, and it helps you do other things. And so then, you know, when you're deciding what to bring with you, it's not just, well, obviously this one gun does every single possible thing. There are several guns that are all good at taking out plague hearts, and they have different wrinkles, they have different features.
And it's not even just guns, right? Like, if that thing is that useful, why would you go through the trouble of getting somebody with electronics and making C4?
Yeah,
right? Why would you spend all the effort to buy Willy Pete from a rare trader when it shows up? Like, the game has a wide array of strategies that are totally viable, but if the stuff at the top is too good, it just means there's a smaller list of choices that are good choices, and the game has less room for you to make good stories and good memories and have those moments that surprise you.
Brant, are you starting to say something?
Yeah, not to change the subject, but I'm changing the subject.
Yeah.
just a reminder that the Wizard van will be going away, and that's brief. That's for the rotation, right?
Oh, yeah, so we originally the Wizard van was I think it was a holiday gift for 2018, and we left it on way longer than we intended. So we brought it back to celebrate our anniversary, and so now we're during the summer event with the Red Cross, we're swapping it out for the Bloodmobile. The Bloodmobile is going to be in here for a while, and we haven't actually decided what we're doing next. But I would really be surprised if you never saw the Wizard van again.
So just make sure that if you want another version or another copy of the Wizard van, go order it today.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's not necessarily going to be around in the immediate future for a little while. But yeah, so basically, it's so easy to just nerf a weapon and then just sort of throw in a single patch note and say, "Yep, there you go, it's nerfed," and then everybody reacts however they react, and we sort of weather the fallout. This time we wanted to tell you guys about it a little bit early, get some of your reactions, and then have a discussion about it. Like what the reason why we're doing it and what we're hoping the experience is going to be like for you, and we want to really take into account all the different ways that players want to use this weapon, so that even though we are bringing down its power against plague hearts specifically, we're not bringing down its power against zombies, and we're sort of making sure that it still has an important role to play when fighting plague hearts, and that there are plenty of other weapons in the game that are just as good at taking the plague hearts down the way that people have been taking it down with the Pyro launcher. So real quick, I was going to so I've got this character. Oh yeah, so I've got this other character who's gonna be really good at taking out plague hearts. Only this guy's got a bunch of consumables and stuff instead. Oh, I know what I was gonna do. I was gonna switch over to this view so that I can cheat the daylight back again, because who wants to be playing this game at night on the stream?
Don't switch to me. Switch to the birds. That's what people want to see.
Well, the bird's got to make some noise if we want to see him, because I got it set to auto switching. But
Zoe, poke your birds.
There we go. Birds. This is the bird show. I was tempted to bring my daughter's budgie to sit on my shoulder during this stream, but unfortunately, I'm so surrounded by streaming equipment in here. I don't think I could pull it up. I don't think I could get the bird out of here again without causing serious problems. And the last thing you want to do is see a bird spend this bird. It's just a poop machine, and eventually I would be covered in bird poop. It's such a small bird, very short digestive tract. So that said, on that lovely subject, while I'm driving around, there's another thing that I wanted to talk about a little bit with Brian, which is loot distribution. So I gave a quick little preview that I actually kind of did badly because I was covering the flyouts on the map screen while I did it, but I haven't actually investigated this map. If you notice, most of these buildings, they've got 3 containers, they've got 4 containers, 1, 4, 3, 1. What? Whoa! But the gun shop has got 9. We got 9 containers to search. And then we're back to, 4, 3, 3, 1. I really should have looked at this beforehand. So 8 containers at the police department. So it didn't used to be this way. Brian, do you want to talk a little bit about sort of what we've been doing with the way loot is distributed in the game?
I would be happy to nerd out about this very particular subject. All right, so this has been something that it's actually been bugging me basically since we shipped. And then around the time we were developing Green Zone, we actually sort of made this worse in the Green Zone, or Green Zone shone a light on it. And that more often than not, when you go to loot a site in State of Decay 2, there's a little bit too much stuff for you to clear it. But there's like a small enough amount that you might be able to get it all done in one go, but you might also have to come back. And leaving like 3 or 4 items behind for me was always like unsatisfying enough that I would just not go back. And then I looked back at that experience and had this thought that like, all right, this is not the most satisfying version of scavenging we could create. Like I'm frequently leaving behind a few things. We got a lot of feedback from internal playtesting that people were going through sort of that same loop of frequently feeling like there was too much stuff and they had to leave stuff behind. And so I sort of jumped into Excel and did a bunch of math and came up with this different tuning for the game's containers.
Oh yeah, so do you want me to put some graphs on the screen?
Oh, can we look at graphs?
I would love to look at some graphs. Okay, let me just, I'm going to get away from this plague heart real quick, and then we will pop some graphs onto the screen. So this is the original loot distribution that people have been seeing for a really long time.
Yep. So this is like a classic bell curve, right? The most common number, and you've all been playing this for 2 years, right? So this drove the experience you knew. where finding 5 containers was really likely, 4 and 6 were pretty likely, 3 and 7 were less likely, 2 and 8 were pretty rare, almost never 1, almost never 9, and then in theory you could find 10s, 11s, and 12s.
I just realized that I have not had you on the screen this entire time, which is very embarrassing. Anyway. All right, so this is the way it was, and basically that 5 and 6 sweet spot was where it was basically what was making it so common for players to end a scavenging run halfway through a building again and again and again. Usually if you were still out there, you probably had room to pick up the contents of 2 or 3 containers, but 5 or 6 containers was always going to just fill up your inventory.
Yep.
So you changed it.
So we changed it. We realized that we could get the same total amount of loot in the map, which would sustain the sort of game economy, so that you're finding enough stuff to keep you surviving, but still maintain that sense of pressure. So you don't always have everything in abundance, right? You're still in the zombie apocalypse, but you're also not completely running out of stuff. So we have to maintain that with whatever we do. And so this means that more often than not, you can actually loot everything you find in the site and get out of there. And so the amount of sites you loot on a scavenging run will probably be higher. But because we took the 5, 6, and 7 sites out completely, and we want to keep the same total amount of loot, we were able to increase the amount of 8s and 9s and 10s, which means that you're going to either walk into a site and come away thinking, all right, I can just close this out, or holy crap, I found the mother lode. There is infinite stuff here. And it should be obvious you're going to have to come back a few times, but that's more of a reward and not that sort of frustrating middle point where you wind up leaving behind, firecrackers, a thing of painkillers, and some ammo you're not going to use. Now it should be much more likely that you feel satisfied by your loot experience without any real changes to the sort of economy of the game.
Yeah, so let me make this graph go away now. But yeah, so having played this with this myself, I can definitely sort of attest that that it's a much more I always love the experience of yes, I can take everything home from this house, and I love the experience of holy crap, there is so many things in this house. And a lot of the ones that get those giant piles tend to be the places that have a lot of containers anyway. Places like gun stores, places like barns. Occasionally this will happen with houses, and it's kind of fun when it happens in a house because every single bedroom is just lit up like a Christmas tree with stuff. But it always feels really good to I never mind finding a building that's got 9 or 10 containers in it, even though I know, I can't carry all that stuff home. It feels like, whoa, I've really hit the mother lode. And that emotional experience is a lot better than finding a place with 6 and being like, maybe I can bring this home, but maybe I can't.
Yeah, so in general, you should be able to feel better about your findings. That's the whole goal here, right? Is that you're going to go into a building, see a number, and then feel like, yep, I'm going to knock this out, or, oh, this is going to be a whole project. And it should be clear to you what to expect so that you get that more satisfying outcome.
So I'm going to blow up this plague heart. Wasn't quite enough, but one shot from a 50 cal was enough to take it the rest of the way. So, yeah, going back to plague hearts, there are a lot of different ways that you can just make really short work of a plague heart. And so that right there was a combination of C4 and carrying that would have only taken 1 bullet from this 50 cal gun. Of course, I've cheated myself a bunch of 50 cal ammo. 50 cal ammo is actually pretty expensive and hard to get. Luckily, it doesn't take that many shots from a 50 cal to just blast a plague heart. So on the way to the other plague heart, though, I think we've actually got another item on the patch notes that Brian would probably want to talk about, which is, so I'm at the truck stop base, and that's got a built-in Autoshop, which has a few more actions than it usually has.
So I think at some point somebody put a feedback note in one of our playtests that was like, why can't I repair my vehicles from the Autoshop? And I had a good 4-second pause just staring at that feedback note going, yeah, what? And okay, so that should have been there the whole time. And because it should have been the whole time, we wanted to make it extra good. And so not only can you now craft repair kits and advanced repair kits on the Autoshop, we added a bulk crafting option, which means you can actually craft more of them for fewer parts if you have enough to do it all at once.
It's basically 3 for the price of 2 now.
Exactly, and I think we literally say that in the text.
3 toolkits for the parts cost of 2. Same thing here. So basically, if you've got knowledge of mechanics, you can use any Autoshop to build 3 toolkits for the price of 2. And if you've got knowledge of auto mechanics, you can build 3 advanced toolkits for the price of 2.
some follow-up questions regarding the loot stuff. Will the quality of loot found be affected with this change? And so is loot rarity adjusted?
No, actually. So this is like something I've been neck deep in this for 5 years. The game will make sure you get certain loot on certain sites, so that it's actually guaranteed. After we fulfill those guarantees, we then have a target number of containers that we fill up to. And so first we make sure you get the right stuff at every site. And then we look at the number of containers that are supposed to get full. And if we haven't already done it, we fill more stuff up to those container counts, which is why you'll get you'll get a much more constrained amount of rucksacks per site and weapons. And then we're not as sort of constrained about how many consumables or luxury items you get. And so the important stuff, the rare stuff, the quality stuff should be unaffected. But the stuff that we're a little bit more flexible about where you get it, like where do I get those 200 consumables you're supposed to get on the map, whatever the number is, like that's going to stretch and squish a little bit more. But like rucksacks, weapons, weapon attachments, anything that's like rare and carefully balanced should not be affected in a material way.
Yeah, so basically, the overall amount of stuff and the key, sort of valuable stuff, that's basically locked. There's nothing about that that's different with the new update. It's basically just where you find it.
Yeah. There's a lot of balancing that's done at the map level, and that hasn't changed. We did the math such that the average number of containers is the same in both loot graphs, which means that the total amount of items dropped will be the same, although because it comes in slightly different sites, like there'll be some small differentiation in like which consumables you got, because we try and make stuff contextually appropriate to the site that you found it. So it's going to be a little bit varied in terms of like, oh, you got slightly more painkillers than you would have gotten energy drinks. Like that ratio might change a little bit, but like the core category of drop totals haven't changed.
Oh, so that's basically the list of patch note items that we're going to be talking about this particular stream. But you should. Oh, by the way, we should actually warn you that next week we're not going to be at our normal time. We're still settling on, I think, the final plans for exactly when we're going to show up. But actually, several of us happen to be taking this weekend, a long weekend this weekend, and there's enough of us that this stream is just impossible. So we're not going to be doing a stream on Monday, this coming Monday. But we still have not gone through all of the patch notes for update 19. And so basically, if you want to, we pay attention to our social media feed. Follow us on Twitter, on all the places where we are. We'll keep you apprised of when these streams are going to be, and we'll let you know when next week's stream is, because we're still going to be doing one next week, because we still have more to tell you about what's going to be in update 19. So with the few minutes we have left, I feel like during the pre-stream, we got to know Zoe's birds a little bit better, but I don't think we actually got to know their names during the proper stream. Zoe, are they still around? Are they still on your shoulders?
I can summon them.
Oh, we got one at least.
Thank you. Alright, so this is Rose.
That's Rose. What kind of bird is Rose?
She is a green sheep conure. She has a vocabulary of about 10 phrases, and she likes food. This right here is Penny. She is a Latino cockatiel. And yeah, she's a cockatiel.
Do cockatiels typically, are they able to learn and repeat words and phrases?
They're more known for singing and whistling.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, my daughter has a budgie. I think like I mentioned before, and they're not known for being able to learn to talk as much as say a conure could. But she has consistently enough repeated. His name is Kiwi. She's repeated his name to him so many times that actually one of his most common calls is just to say Kiwi, 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 really, really fast, which is a lot of fun. What can Rose say?
Well, she says sorry a lot after I accidentally poke her neck.
Is she like instruct? Is that like she's passive aggressively instructing you that you need to apologize?
She says that because I apologize every time I do it.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
She also says treat if she thinks there's a chance she'll get one. Treat.
Yeah, saying sorry a lot is actually, I have a lot in common with Rose. I think when I was playing.
Treat.
Oh, is she saying it?
Yeah.
I was about to say when I played Disco Elysium, I actually got the sorry cop idea because I just apologized to every single NPC that I met.
That's something about the nature of cops. That's the association.
Yeah. All right, hey, Brant, have we had any last comments or questions from the chat?
How is the loot distribution going to affect the loot you find in plague hearts when you destroy them?
Totally unaffected. Plague Heart loot is a completely independent system that does not connect to any of the others. Much to my dismay.
Well, that was that right there was, I think, was it a couple of shots from a 50 cal and then one Willy Pete. It just took it the rest of the way down.
Yeah, there's a reason we don't let you craft Willy Pete on your own. It is by far the most effective consumable in the game. And that's very much by design. I think we only let you craft it in Heartland as a way to let you feel clearly like you had more stuff than you would have had in the base game.
Yeah. All right. Well, so to summarize all the stuff that we have been introducing over the past couple of weeks. So, number one, we had Dan Mode in here talking about the changes that have been made to vehicles. All of our vehicles across the board are more powerful. They're, with the exception of the sports cars, which are already scraping the top of how fast a vehicle can go in our world. All the vehicles can get up to higher speeds. They can handle going over low obstacles a lot better. We've got some changes to the way that tires interact with terrain that make it fun to sort of like drive off road and drift and screw around that way. And basically all of the differences between the vehicles have been intensified. You can really feel the difference between driving an ambulance and driving a Jeep, driving a sports car, driving a truck. It feels really good.
A four-wheel drive or an off-road vehicle?
Yes, an off-road, a four-wheel drive off-road vehicle, obviously, and not a Jeep. I don't know where that word came from. That is a word that does not exist in our universe.
That's the only reason why I'm still in the stream anymore.
Just to remind me to say that. And then on top of that, this map that we're in, Drucker County, has gotten an enormous facelift. There's lots of individual sites. Now, I'm actually up here on the plateau where we had actually originally focused a lot of our efforts. So there's less here to show that's different. But down around the fringes of the map especially, there are a lot of places that have gotten a nice visual upgrade. And even some of the sites have been sort of moved around and shifted to make them more interesting to explore. And then, Zoe and Brian showed us how shotguns, in addition to vehicles, shotguns have also gotten, much more powerful and interesting to use, giving you sort of another, valid and interesting choice, to what you want to use in the game. And then there's just a ton of other smaller things, like the loot distribution changes, the fact that the Pyro launcher is a little bit less of just an instant kill button for the plague hearts, but we're sort of showing, giving you sort of motivation to try a diverse range of different plague heart kill switches, and you can craft toolkits at your Autoshops, which is what Autoshops should always have been for. So there's a ton coming in Update 19, and we're still not done. Next week, whenever we do our stream, there's going to be even more to talk about. So it's 3:58 now. We're running low on time, so I think we're probably going to put a stop to this nonsense. But thank you all for coming in here. We really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to the release of Update 19 when you guys can play with the stuff all yourselves. And we're going to keep paying attention to what you say, on Reddit, on social media, in our on our YouTube videos, all the places. Come. You should actually come and join our Discord. We'll put a link in the doobly-doo. Do all of these things because we want to hear what you think of these updates we're making. Good or ill, be constructive, but we really want to make this game for you guys. Brant, do you got any last words before we move on?
No, other than I'm sorry that my dumb face was billboarded there for so long.
Well, let's have Brian say goodbye to clear you out.
Sure. See how long it takes for it to switch over. I don't know how delays work anymore. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody, and for going back and forth in chat and for listening and playing the game for as long as you have. We appreciate y'all. And
Zoe, Rose, and Penny, do you want to say goodbye to us?
Thanks for joining, everybody. See ya. Have fun. It'll be a good week.
And thanks to all three of you for everything that you contributed to this update. It's a pretty exciting. It's one of the bigger and more diverse updates we've done. I'm really excited about it. And with that, we're gonna get out of here in about 20 seconds.
And yeah, thanks again, everybody. We love you. And wear your mask, dummies.
I can't believe I got to show graphs. I love graphs. There's numbers. They mean stuff. It's objective interpretation. We get to talk about them